Hey everybody, this is Allie. Welcome back to my channel Color Mama 360. It's time for another video, and today we're starting a new series that I'm going to be doing on the channel, and that is my artist deep dive series. So if you're looking at the screen, I'm sure you can guess who our first artist is. It's Hanna Karlzon, and I'm going to just go through some different things that I was able to find out about Hanna Karlzon, mostly just through the internet. So hopefully these facts and things that I've done research on are accurate. I've looked at some of her different profiles that she's done for different interviews and things like that. And yeah, I'm just going to be coloring a page from Summer Nights that was on my February plans list. And I will show you that in just a minute. But I'm just going to be coloring that and do a little voiceover with some information about Hanna Karlzon. Okay, everybody, let's jump into it. Okay, as I mentioned, today we're exploring the enchanting world of Hanna Karlzon, the Swedish artist whose intricate illustrations have captured the hearts of colorists worldwide. Her work is more than just coloring pages, it's a place to lose yourself in whimsical forests, magical animals, and storybook details. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced colorist, her designs invite you to slow down, experiment, and enjoy the process. So let's talk about Hanna's early life and beginnings. To start out, Hanna Karlzon was born and raised in northern Sweden, a place surrounded by forests, lakes, and dramatic seasonal changes. This environment has inspired much of her work. From a young age, Hanna was constantly drawing. Art was her favorite subject, and she continued to develop her skills throughout school. She later earned a degree as an art teacher, giving her a strong foundation in composition, design, and visual storytelling. But Hanna didn't follow the traditional classroom path. Instead, she pursued her own creative career, focusing on illustration and design. In 2013, Hanna launched her freelance business working with textiles, pattern design, and decorative illustration. She gradually discovered her love for hand drawn art, creating detailed pieces meant to delight and inspire. When adult coloring books became popular globally, Hanna's style was a perfect fit. Her first book was released in 2015, and it immediately stood out for its hand-drawn charm and meticulous detail. And I think many of us still own that book today. But Hanna Karlzon, I do think, is one of the artists that stands out as far as most popular or kind of in the first of coloring book artists. Her illustrations are inspired by nature, forests, flowers, insects, and animals, decorative art such as jewelry, patterns, historical motifs, fantasy and storytelling, and whimsical characters, magical elements, as well as things that she just enjoys in general. Her style mixes realism with fantasy, creating pages that are immersive yet calming, intricate, and yet approachable. Let's talk about how Hanna creates her illustrations. So Hanna draws entirely by hand using pencils and fine liners. She works in her home studio, often sketching in a moleskin notebook before transferring her work to final sheets for scanning and printing. The result is warm, organic, and highly detailed, line quality that digital art alone can often not replicate. This handcrafted approach is a hallmark of her work, and I know that everyone in the coloring community loves a good hand drawn coloring book. Hanna's are definitely one that stick out in the list of coloring book artists who hand draw their work. Colorists often comment on the emotional resonance of her illustrations, whether it's a peaceful floral arrangement or a surreal scene with wings, crystals, and jewels. Her pages feel like small worlds to explore. This emotional depth is part of why her work continues to captivate colorists around the globe. So let's talk about her coloring book timeline. I'm going to go through her core coloring book releases. So there are some that are postcards, artist editions, things like that that aren't included. But let's go through her core books. So the first full coloring book that she ever released was Daydreams, and I am going to refer to all of her books by their English names so that I do not butcher the Swedish translation. So her first book, Daydreams, was released in 2015. Following that, she released Summer Nights in 2016, and that's the book you're watching me work in today. Following that, she released Magical Dawn in 2016-2017. Then Seasons in 2017. Now, Seasons is out of print and is a little bit harder to get a hold of these days. If you are looking for that book, I recommend checking eBay or Vinted if you're in the UK, Macari if you're in the US, and maybe if you get lucky, you will be able to get that book off of one of those, but it is out of print and a little bit harder to find today. Following the release of Season, she released a jewelry box in 2018, then Spirit Animals in 2019. This is another out of print book that can be difficult to find. Then, after Spirit Animals, she started on the Tales From series, starting with Tales from the Midnight Masquerade, which was released in 2020, followed by Tales from the Forest Kingdom, which was released in 2021. That that year, she released Tales from the Witch's Cottage, also in 2021. Following that, she released Tales from the City Among the Stars in 2022, Tales from Atlantis in 2023, Merry Christmas in 2024, and last year we got the Swedish edition of Halloween, which was released in 2025, and the English edition is set to be released this year in 2026. And she also has a new book coming out in March. The Swedish edition of Tales from the Castle Runes will be released in March 2026. And I believe that book is already available for pre-order on iMusic if you're interested in pre-ordering that book. So, as I mentioned, Hanna's books also include postcard books, artist editions, especially for the early titles like Daydreams and Magical Dawn. Some of these are rare and collectible and treasured by fans worldwide. Also, as I mentioned, some of her books are out of print and harder to find, such as Spirit Animals and Seasons, but you may be able to get lucky and find one of those on, as I mentioned, eBay or another site that sells used books. Hanna's books have been translated and sold internationally. Online, fans share colored pages, participate in themed challenges, and create communities around her work. Her pages often inspire experimentation with shading, color blending, and metallic accents. Now, one other thing to mention about Hanna is that she shared openly about her health challenges, including a brain tumor diagnosis in 2022. She continues to work creatively when possible and inspires fans not just with her art, but with her resilience and her honesty regarding her condition as well. So that is all I have on Hanna Karlzon. From northern Sweden to colorists worldwide, Hanna Karlzon has created a legacy of intricate, whimsical, and emotional artwork. Whether you're new to her books or a longtime fan, her illustrations offer endless inspiration. I personally love Hanna Karlzon. She's one of my favorite artists, and I think I've doubled or maybe tripled my collection of Hanna Karlzon books within the last year, and am very excited to see what she continues to create. I hope that you guys enjoyed this artist deep dive, and I'm looking forward to doing more of these. If you have any recommendations for which artists you would like to hear about next, put it down in the comments, and also let me know in the comments which Hanna Karlzon book is your favorite to color. All right, guys, happy coloring. See you next time. Bye.